What's up, Internet? Welcome to the first episode of Iron Butt Run, a vlog dedicated to completing video games in one sitting. I'm your host, Dr. J, and today we have a very special treat for you, taking it back to the original video game, Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System. So strap in, hang on, and get ready for some classic gaming. Time starts now. Throughout the course of this video, I'll be providing voiceover commentary on the gameplay. I'll be throwing in some additional facts about the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, and I'll be getting a little bit deeper into detail about what exactly this thing I call Iron Butt Run is going to be. So, before I get into that, I do want to address an issue that I had with recording. If you pay attention to the background music, you're going to notice that the sound effects for this level don't match up with what's going on the screen. The reason for that is that the emulator that I used to record did not record the audio while I was playing, so I went back, recorded some of the sound effects, and dubbed them over. So, for the majority of this playthrough, the sound effects aren't going to be there. It's just going to be the background music. So, I just completed World 1-1, moving on to the Underground World 1-2, and these two, I don't know about any other Super Mario Brothers players, but these two levels, it seems like I never got any farther than these two levels when I was playing as a kid. So, they hold a very special place in my heart because I spent so much of my time on them. And you're going to notice that a couple of times throughout the video I do die, and that's also something that I'm going to address a little bit later. But yeah, after World 1-2, it just got a little bit too hard, and you'll see right there. I was going to try for the extra life and overshot it, missed, and I'm gonna keep going for it, but I'm not gonna quite make it, so I'm gonna have to move on here. We've got a little bit of time before the next commentary point that I want to make on the gameplay, so this would be a good time to throw in our first Mario franchise fact. The Mario franchise began in 1981 with Donkey Kong, and instead of being known as Mario, he was originally known as Jumpman. And Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of the Mario franchise, had said that he had originally intended to name him Mr. Video, but according to a widely circulated story, Nintendo of America's warehouse landlord, a man named Mario Segal, was demanding the rent for the Nintendo of America warehouse, and because of that, they decided that they would name the main character in their new franchise after him. So, just a little interesting trivia to go along with our commentary here. This is World 1-3, and I believe this is the first part of the game that starts giving me trouble. You're going to see here, coming up, that I do fall off. It looks like I'm going to make, it's this jump right here. I thought I was going to make it, but I didn't, and that was my first game over, so I had to start again from the beginning. And because of that, I felt that I hadn't committed to it yet, but at this point, it had entered my mind that in order to complete this playthrough, I was going to need to utilize save states, which I know some frown upon as cheating the game somehow, because it wasn't originally programmed into the game. But if I hadn't used save states, I would have never completed this game. I completed World 1-3, and now we're on to our first castle. And this one took me a couple of tries as well to clear, but eventually we did get through it. Here's Bowser, and if I remember correctly, he jumped up the first time I went through. I'd landed on the platform, but he did something rather unspeakable to me while I was up there. So we've skipped ahead to World 2-2. This is the first underwater level in the game, and this is actually the first time that I have ever played this level. So it was a different experience for me, especially with the squid. I think I heard somebody refer to them once in a video as bloopers. I don't know what the official name is, but they're really, really annoying, so they're not fun to tangle with. And I'm just gonna do my best to avoid them as I go through here. You can see I'm not really trying to collect any of the coins or anything. I just want to get through this level and get on with the playthrough. So that is gonna be the end of level 2-2. Interesting Mario fact number 2. Mario has appeared in over 200 games to date, spanning 30 years and at least 19 different platforms. So our boy Mario is a pretty busy fella. We're now on World 2-3, which I included in the video because this is one of the flying fish levels, and I don't have the beginning in here for some reason, but I just thought it was kind of a novelty to throw in, and thought that I would show it off. I skipped over the castle because it was just kind of plain, nothing real special about it. And I've noticed that with most of this game, that rather than using original level designs, they just use the same sort of 6 or 7 levels and kind of repackage them. Like, for instance, there's one level where I think it's a castle level. It's actually the exact same, brick for brick, as one of the earlier castles, but it has more fireballs in certain places, stuff like that. So, perhaps not quite as revolutionary, I guess. I mean, for its time, it was still revolutionary, but by today's standards, repackaging the same thing probably wouldn't fly. At least not as well. This here is World 3-4. And that was my second game over. And it was at this point that I finally decided that I was going to start using save states. I think I've edited them out pretty well. It should look fairly seamless where I have my save states edited in. But yeah, this one, it was pretty tough. Oh, side note, I forgot to mention on the last level, World 3-1, that was the first appearance of the Hammer Brothers in the game. So now we've made it through World 3-4, heading on to World 4, and we're just going to skip right to the castle, because the other levels in this world really weren't anything special, nothing to speak of. World 4-4 is the first castle where I'm not exactly sure how it works, but you have to follow a certain path in order to clear it. So it took me 4 tries to get it just right, but as you can see there, I did finally get it. We're on to World 5-4 now, which we've skipped an entire world now. I do have notes on World 5-1, which was edited out. For some reason, I really can't remember why I decided to edit it out, but that one gave me particular trouble. There was Koopa shells, or a Koopa shell that if you kick it just right, it'll give you an extra life at the very beginning. It was the first appearance of Bullet Bill, and in the raw footage, it took me 4 minutes to clear, where in the game it started at 300 seconds, which the seconds counter in this is, I'm not exactly sure what it's calibrated to, but it's definitely not seconds. It moves a little bit faster than that. That's something that you'll notice in Metroid as well. The escape sequence is 999 ticks, and rather than each tick being 1 second, it scrolls by really fast. And then also in 5-1, I had messed up my save states, and I had to start completely from scratch. But I made it through. This is World 6-3, and got a little bit ahead of myself there. I missed getting the top of the flagpole, but that's okay. At least we finished the level. So that brings us to World 6-4, and you're not going to see it on this video, but I went back and added up the time on the raw footage that I have, and this level took me 15 minutes, a legitimate 15 minutes to clear. This is also the first level. You'll see this in a little bit when we get up there finally. Bowser starts throwing hammers, so that one, that's probably part of why it took so long for me to clear that. And I'm an utter perfectionist. I love Fire Flower Mario, and if for some reason I lose Fire Flower Mario, I go back and do it over again so that I can keep him. We're on to World 7-1, and this is kind of what I like to refer to as the shooting gallery. There's it seems like 1.5 million bullet bills, and they're just constantly flying across the screen. Had a couple Hammer Brothers there, and I don't like the Hammer Brothers, so I'm gonna destroy their little brick hideout place. Serves them right. They're jerks. Oh, that's a bummer. I just lost lost Fire Flower Mario, but it's okay. I got a mushroom here, so, I mean, Super Mario is better than Little Mario. And going back to the raw footage, this level, World 7-1, took me 40 minutes to clear. And that's the longest level that I can remember writing down. So it was pretty intense. I'm amazed that I made it through. So moving on to World 7-2, this is another underwater level, and just like with the bullet bills and the shooting gallery, we get into a little spot here with all of these squids. Call it the squid entanglement. This was another pretty challenging level. I don't have the total number of minutes it took me to get through this with the raw footage, but I think it took me at least probably a handful of tries, probably a half dozen or so. Got real lucky right there. If you were watching the video, I got kind of close to a fish, but made it through. The key to this video game, it seems, is persistence, and I'm nothing if not persistent. And that is gonna do it for World 7-2. World 7-4 is another castle that requires a special pattern to clear. You need to go through the castle in a certain order in order to get to the final boss. And going back to the raw footage again, it took me 17 minutes in total to get through this level, which it's still not as much as the first level in this world, but it's still quite a bit. So I was pretty tired by the end of my Mario run through. I'm going to take this opportunity now to talk a little bit more about Iron Butt Run. I originally came up with this concept while attending a motorcycle class, and an Iron Butt Run is driving 1,000 miles in a 24-hour time period. And so I tried to take that concept and transfer it over into video games, and I decided that an Iron Butt Run would be playing through an entire video game at once. Here we are, finally in World 8. This is the final world in the game, and just like I took you through the first 4 levels of the game, I'm going to take you through the last 4 as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more now about Iron Butt Run. I had originally intended for this to be a partner project, but my partner backed out, so I'm just going to continue on with this and do it the way that I had intended to. Find a Starman. I think I only used maybe 2 Starmen through the entire course of the game. Had a pretty big gap back there, and I think there's another big one coming up. It's not this one, but it should be one after. There's like 1 square of land. Yep, 1 square of land I have to land on just perfectly. And I didn't try and save state my way through the jump, I just went for it. And I actually did that in 1 take. Here we are, coming up on the flag at the end of the level. For anyone that's interested, I do have a roster of video games that I do want to play through for future episodes of Iron Butt Run, but if you have any suggestions, I will have an email address at the end of the episode. So, Here's World 8-2. We have a Lucky 2 up there throwing down the spinies, and boy do I hate that thing. Ugh, that thing just caused me no end of grief. Every level. I think his first level was World 4-1. And every time that thing showed up, I just cringed, because I hate Lucky 2. Got a 1-up mushroom here. Making our way slowly through the level. Got some bullet bills we need to watch for, and oh, they're never fun. But you do what you need to do in order to get by. Get a power-up mushroom and have it taken away right away. So that's always fun. This one was kind of tricky. If you know the mechanics of the game, you know that you can run across gaps of about 1 square. And so that jump would normally be impossible if you didn't use the gap to get that running start. I don't know why I jumped there. Bullet bill just makes me nervous, I guess. So here's the end of World 8-2. Moving on to World 8-3, and we're 3/4 of the way, or we're halfway through. After this level, we'll be 3/4 of the way through. Got some Hammer Brothers here, and if I remember, these guys gave me a little bit of grief at the beginning too. I want to say I probably spent about, probably a good 5 minutes making sure that I got through them okay. They're mean. Hammer Brothers. This whole game is mean. I can't imagine anybody finishing this thing back in the 80s. It's just so tough. I lost my mushroom there. Knocked a couple of blocks, but don't get anything, so I just decided to move on. Hammer Brothers, I mean, they're not the worst characters in the game. They're really annoying, but, you know, there are worse things. Like piranha plants. Had to deal with my fair share of piranha plants killing me while I was playing the game too, so here we are at the end of World 8-3. We're 3/4 of the way through and moving on to the final level. So here we are, starting at the beginning. And this one was exceptionally confusing because this is another one you have to go through in a certain pattern. You have to go through each pipe at the right place, otherwise you just go in circles. And this part, it took me a real long time to find that block in order to hit it and get up into that pipe. So, saw some flying fish there. We have a short underwater segment here, and you'll notice the castle background music is playing, but I think this actually was the underwater theme. I just decided not to edit that in here, just for the sake of getting this editing completed. And I really scum out right here, just sneak right underneath Bowser and take him out. Well, our clock stopped at a respectable 3 hours, 25 minutes, and 3 seconds. That was a long game, but it was worth it. This is the end of the first episode of Iron Butt Run. If you enjoyed, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us at ironbuttrun@gmail.com. Until next time, this is Dr. J, and my butt is iron.